Hey everybody, GravyTrain here with another episode of GravyTraining. This one is Hero Spotlight number 25, and that is constructs. Once again, we're kind of rushing through, or not rushing, but breezing through the lower part of the meta, just to kind of get these heroes covered and out of the way. Some of these are marginally, like they're outliers on the meta, but they're not really in it. Uh, so, I mean, you need to understand them, but you don't have to stress about getting them or getting them like leveled up or anything like that until you actually need them. So let's get started. We will not be covering Agnon today since he got his own video several months ago. Early on, he was one of the first like 5 that I did, or 5 or 10, something like that. But we are going to be covering the dangerous Stonefist, the Furnace, Bobble, and Alexandros. If I say I'm all dramatic, maybe they'll sound more impressive than they actually are. Most of these suck. So, alright, so one of the things about constructs, with 2 exceptions, there are 2 constructs that are living constructs, which they can be healed, but the rest of them cannot be, and that we will see in their stuff. So Stonefist is a bronze hero. He's the worst. Not quite as bad as goblins, maybe, but he's bad. So his attack and defense are so-so. He does have an epic attack, defense, crit chance, so the epic itself is actually good. His epic effect is 30% chance to deal 2x damage, splash damage, and purge 1 buff on all enemies. I mean, all in all, that's really, really good. The problem is that he doesn't have anything to back that up, so... yeah. Anywho, his abilities. So he is magical. He takes less damage from non-physical attacks. He is actually the other living stone one. So he's a living construct. He's invulnerable to all debuffs, and he can be healed normally, unlike other constructs. He is slow, everything that slow entails. If you've been watching the videos, you've seen slow come up like 50 times. Not quite 50 times, but it means he gets more attack and more hit points and acts in the last phase. Stone Cold is a chance to chill melee attackers and a chance to chill on hit. Chill is really, really weak. Basically, it just means they don't gain energy normally. So we've already talked about his epic. So his first ability is Fist of Justice. Justice. It's a ranged physical attack for 3,000 base damage. Shockwave damages all enemies and lowers attack by 71% and defense by 77%. So that's actually not bad. His hit rate is kind of meh. But all in all, as far as abilities go, 77% defense debuff is pretty good. His next ability is Water on Rock. So he taunts, forces enemies. Well, we already know what taunting is. He buffs defense 57%, and that's his defense. Also reduces attack on melee attackers, and it starts powered. So he taunts, makes people hit not as hard, and buffs his defense. Meh. Provoking Punch is his last one. Melee physical attack for 2,200 base damage that provokes the target. Okay. That one at least comes up quickly. And you could probably make him work in a team. I mean, there's definitely worse heroes out there. You would have to rune him up with really good runes, but as far as a tank goes, he's not terrible. The debuffs, the epic, everything else could definitely be worse. So Furnace. Furnace is a relatively strong construct on the other hand. So he is, well, he's a legendary construct. So he has good starting stats. Does not have an epic. So for not having an epic, 4204 defense, 3371 attack, skill, health, crit chance, all are fairly decent. So he is a construct. He's invulnerable to all debuffs, but cannot be healed, unlike Agnon and Stonefist. He is armored, takes less damage from physical attacks. Pressure cooker. So if he's attacked by a fire character or is hit by a crit, his pressure increases. The pressure gauge shows up in battle. If attacked by a water character, his pressure decreases. Legacy of Flame. This is actually fairly useful. So fire team members get 15% attack and hit points and 10% defense and skill. Putting him on a team with Ember, you're getting pretty much everything, or she's getting everything from him. More attack, more defense, more skill. I mean, just all around good. So yeah, I mean that kind of works out well. It works out well, like in addition with Astrid. You put Astrid and him in a group with two casters, or a caster and a healer, or two healers, and that'll do really well. Abs of Steel. So this one is kind of unique to him. The per hit damage inflicted against him will not exceed 20% of his max hit points. What does that mean? So let's just say, for sake of argument, he had 20,000 hit points instead of 16,000. So he gets hit for 100,000 damage. How much damage does he actually take? Well, he takes 4,000. That's it. The next hit, he gets hit for 100,000 again. How much does he take? 4,000. That, even with shield piercing, same rule applies. He still only takes 20% of his health at a time can be taken by a single blow. Now, Hagrim, who comes in and does 4 attacks at once with Jackhammer, that's 4 blows. That's not a single blow. Each one of them, Hagrim can practically one-shot Furnace. The other thing, there are several ways to bypass that. One is to banish him using Zulk. Another one is using Iris's third ability, which just bypasses, or technically Ice Pick with his borrowing of health, because it's not doing an explicit amount of damage. You're taking a percentage of health, or setting their health to a new value. That's not actually considered damage as far as things go. So it's also not hit by damage resistance or reduction. So kind of a cool ability. It makes him a lot more survivable than, like, he can soak up Agnon, picking him up and dropping him. No problem. So he does not have an epic, so his basic attack is just a really weak basic attack, except he does an AE attack. So his attack is area of effect. It hits all enemies at once, which means you put runes on him that make him do poison, do disease, do shock, do freeze, do whatever. He has a chance to hit all 4 of your enemies at the same time every time he does a basic attack. So that is pretty badass. He also has a chance to burn the target, or the targeted enemy, and a 40% chance to burn the rest. And burn reduces, it does a little bit of damage over time, and it reduces defense. So that is actually a pretty good ability. Under Pressure is a ranged attack, for a ranged fire attack for 1100 damage. At normal pressure, plus as he takes hits and crits from fire heroes, or he stokes the boiler, or whatever, as this pressure meter goes up, he does more damage. How much more? Meh. Not great, but whatever. Stoke the boiler. is he taunts, forces enemies to attack him, increases his pressure, and buffs allies with an additional 40% bonus damage to their attacks. Starts powered. But once again, that's a pretty substantial attack bonus. And that's not an attack or a buff to the attack stat. That is bonus to damage. So that will stack with other things. Finally, Combustion is a melee physical attack. Targets enemies' energy for 133.2 base damage and resets the target's abilities to max cooldown. So this is supposed to have an apostrophe here, which is why it reads so awful. So enemies should be targets an enemy, and this should be an enemy, E-N-E-M-Y, apostrophe S. Proofreading, so that's why that reads so weird. Targets an enemy's energy for 133.2 base damage and resets all their cooldowns. So all their cooldowns go offline and get out to the max size for them. So that is Furnace. Bobble. Bobble is a construct healer. Bobble is the only, I think is the only hero now that can actually deal, or that can actually heal constructs, of which there's only 2 other ones that can't be healed that aren't living stone. So, whatever. Stats aren't great all around. Bobble is a silver hero. So, in between bronze and gold, not anything to write home about. It's a construct. Armored, you guys know what that stuff means by now. Flying 2 takes less damage from melee attacks, which is, it's alright. That can actually work against her. Shifty, innate ability to dodge attacks. Woohoo, dodge sucks. Overclocked. Armored allies have a chance to dodge ranged attacks. Have an increased chance to dodge ranged attacks. Lasts for 1 turn. Woohoo, who cares? And volatile components. And if an attack would kill this hero, deal revenge damage equal to the attack up to max health. So if you get hit by a big Jin lightning blast for 100,000 points, and your max health is 10,000, you're going to deal 10,000 damage to whoever did that to you. And this is the trick, throw an unbreakable heart rune on Bobble. That attack would kill her, him, her, whatever it is. Would kill him. He does that revenge attack, but stays alive. So that's a nice little kind of tactic. You can actually do that twice. Doesn't have an epic. Basic attack is a melee physical attack for 144 or 1044 base damage. Heals target friendly construct for 6,000 health, or target ally gains a class specific buff. Ignores taunt when targeting. So that's this or this or this. It either does a really weak melee physical attack, or it heals a construct, or a target ally gains a class specific buff. I don't think I've ever used that in that capacity, so I don't know what that would even be. Not worth it is really what it comes down to. Unstable Bomb is the first ability. And remember that IFF targeting, that's the basic attack too. Ranged physical attack on target enemy for 1879 base damage with a chance to add up to 3 status effects. That's actually pretty decent. Gains energy for each effect not applied. So you gain 1 energy if they only apply 2 buffs, gain 2 energy if they only apply 1 buff, and if they apply no or debuffs, they apply none, then he gains 3. So say you attack Emily or something like that. Next is Positive Charge. Gives all allies electric skin. And heals or repairs, so constructs, 7150 health split between all allies. Skill will boost this. So electric skin is nice. It will trigger Jin follow-ups, stuff like that. And finally, questionable contrails. So it's a ranged light attack on all enemies, meaning it's not going to do damage to Emily, with a chance to burn, poison, or frostbite. And it also buffs defense for each ally. So, meh. Not really a great hero. And finally, Alexandros. So, Alexandros has okay stats. He is a silver hero, so just kind of like meh. He is a construct, armored, electrostatic field. He has a chance to shock a random enemy at the start of his turn. Okay. He has a reflecting shield. Allies start dungeons with a shield that reflects 50% of damage taken back at the attacker for 3 rounds. Damage taken. Not dealt. Damage taken. Means all the mitigation just means he does less damage back in return. Can still be okay. And I think... yeah, it's all damage, so it's not melee or something like that. Then Electric Conductor. Armored allies damaging attacks on shock targets have a chance to spread the shock to another random enemy. So, yeah, I mean, not awesome. He does not have an epic. His basic attack is just a basic attack. So, Special 1, Shield Slam. Melee physical attack. 2703 base damage and has a chance to provoke and knock the target off balance. Means they don't have as good a chance to hit. Woohoo. Energizing Taunt. So he taunts, boosts his max health by 1099, and gains 2 energy. Starts powered. As far as tank kind of abilities go, it's not bad. And Provoking Rampage is a melee physical attack on target and 2 random enemies. 41351. And a chance to provoke. So he may provoke up to 3 people. And that is that. Constructs right now, I mean, Furnace is okay. Agnon is still awesome. The other ones are kind of meh, not so great. I definitely wouldn't waste a lot of energy and materials on them. They can kind of be niche periodically. They're not bad in PvE. But yeah, the only ones you want to really focus on would be Agnon first and foremost. Absolutely. And then Furnace as kind of a fallback tank. So I'm going to try to do one more set today. I'm a little bit tired, but we'll see what happens. And yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know if you got any questions. Remember, I added the Discord links down in the video in the descriptions below, as well as my social media, my Twitter, which I need to get better at posting up to. But yeah, that's it. Hope you guys have a great day. Thanks.